Welcome to week 39 of the Ray of Hope Crochet Along, and this week we're making the Bobble Flowers stitch. So this is a really pretty stitch that will add detail to any project, and we make these flower shapes by using clusters and bobbles. So how do we make it?
So we're going to be using a 3.5mm hook for this stitch, and we're going to start with the chain of 22. So the first 2 rows of the ray are done the same way as we do most of the triangle rays. So you start with a chain of 22, and in the 4th chain from your hook you're going to make a double crochet. And double crochet in each stitch across. That turning chain counts as a stitch, so you'll have 20 stitches. Row 2, you turn chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain 2 together over the first 2 stitches. Double crochet in each stitch until you have 2 stitches left, and then double crochet 2 together over those last 2 stitches. You'll have 18 stitches in total. Okay, so row 3, we're going to start our first 2 bobble flowers. So we're going to turn chain 1. I'm going to make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Just pop a stitch marker in. And now we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2. In the same stitch as that last double crochet, we're going to start our cluster. So you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into the stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, to the same height as our double crochet. Yarn over, back into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yarn over again, then yarn over, skip 3 stitches, and in the next stitch you're going to yarn over and pull up 3 more loops. 2 and 3. So you've got 14 loops. Okay, so I've drawn up 3 loops from this second stitch. So including the first 7 and this 7, we've got 14 loops on a hook. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through all 14 loops. Okay, and then you're going to chain 3. 1, 3. Okay, so this is the bottom half of one of our flowers. Okay, so in the same stitch as we did this cluster here, we're going to make a double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're going to make another cluster. So we start by chaining 2. In the same stitch as this double crochet we just made, you're going to yarn over, insert into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You're going to pull up 3 loops, so you have 7 loops on your hook. Then yarn over, skip 3 stitches, and in the next stitch you're going to yarn over and pull up 3 more loops. 2 and 3. So you've got 14 loops in total on your hook. Now going to yarn over and pull through all 14 loops. Then chain 3. Okay. So the higher you pull up your stitches, the more puffier your clusters will look. Okay. So then you're going to make a double crochet into the same stitch you made that second part of the cluster. And then you're going to double crochet in the last 3 stitches. Two and 3. Okay, so that's the bottom half of our flowers made. Okay, so now we need to make the top half. So we're going to turn, chain 1, make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And then double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so next we're going to make a bubble stitch. I'm going to make it into the centre of this cluster. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and into the middle, which if you just pull apart, you'll get into it there. Okay, you see, see that gap there? It goes in there. You're going to yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times, 2 and 3. So you've got 7 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops. Okay, then chain 3. And then you're going to make another bubble into the same stitch. Okay, so pull up a loop 3 times, so you've got 7 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through all the loops. So instead of this one cluster where it's split, you've got 2 bubbles going out in a V shape. And that's your bubble flower. Okay. So now we're going to skip this chain space here, go to the next double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So now we need to make the bubbles for this flower. So yarn over and into the centre of that bubble, centre of the cluster, sorry, make a bubble. So yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times. You've got 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all the loops. Then chain 3. Okay, and then make another bubble into the same space. 1, 2, 3. You've got 7 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all the loops. Skip the chain space and then double crochet in the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And there we go, there's your bubble flowers. So we're going to make 2 more bubble flowers for this row. Okay, so row 5, this is a double crochet row. I'm going to turn, chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. Going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to skip the bubbles. Okay, so we're not going to work into the top of the bubble stitches, but we are going to make 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space between the bubbles. 1, 2 and 3. Skip the next bubble and then double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, again we're going to skip the bubbles and make 3 double crochet in the chain space. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3. Skip the next bobble and then double crochet in the last 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you should have 18 double crochet in this row. Okay, row 6. Row 6 is a decrease row. So you turn chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain 2 together over the first 2 stitches. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in every stitch across, and then in the last 2 stitches we're going to do a double crochet 2 together. So we're bringing our stitch count down to 16 in this row. Okay, so I'm just going to finish that and I shall come back to you at the end of the row. So I finished row 6. In row 7 we're going to start another row of the bottom flowers. So we're going to repeat this cluster row here. So we turn chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And then I'm going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So this is exactly the same as row 3, it's just that we're starting with 1 less double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to chain 2. In the same stitch we're going to start our cluster. So yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and the same again. So we've got 7 loops on our hook. Then yarn over, skip 3 stitches, into the next stitch, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and do that for a 3rd time, another 7 loops on your hook. So you've got 14 loops in total. Then yarn over, pull through all 14 loops, then chain 3. Okay, so after you chain 3, you're going to make a double crochet into the same stitch that you just finished that second part of your cluster stitch. And then you're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. One, 2 and 3. And then we're going to do our next cluster. So chain 2, yarn over into the same double crochet as you just finished, yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, skip 3 stitches, and in the next stitch we're making the second part of the cluster. So yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times, you'll have 7 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through all 14 loops, and then chain 3. And then into the same stitch you just finished that second part of the cluster, you're going to double crochet. And then double crochet in the last 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Okay, so then we're going to turn, and then we're going to make the second part of the flowers. So chain 1 and make the alternate turning chain in the first stitch. And then double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And 2. So in the centre of your cluster you're going to make a bobble stitch. So just yarn over into the centre of the cluster, yarn over and pull up a loop and do that 3 times. 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, and then chain 3. Okay, and then make another bobble stitch into the same space. So yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times, so you have 7 loops on your hook, and yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Okay. Then we skip the chain space, and we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 2, 3 and 4, and then we're going to repeat all over again in our next flower. So we skip the chain space, and in the centre of that cluster we make a bobble. Yarn over, pull up a loop 3 times, 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops, then chain 3. Okay, and then make another bobble in exactly the same place. Yarn over and pull up a loop 3 times, so you've got 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. Okay, and then skip the chain space and double crochet in the last 3 stitches. And 3. There we go. That's our bobble flowers complete. So we're only making 4 in this row. Okay, so our next row is a double crochet row, and we're going to repeat row 5. So when you're making your double crochet, you skip the bobble but make 3 double crochet in the chain space. Okay, so you'll have 16 double crochet in total to this row. That's row 9. Row 10 is a decrease row, and then from then on in we're making the ray the same way as we normally would. Okay, so there's 39 rows in total for this stitch. Your decrease rows are rows 10, 14, 18, 22, 26, 30, 34 and 38. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and I shall see you in a moment to show you what we're doing with the slip stitch board.
Okay, so I finished my bobble flowers ray. So we've got these lovely 4 of these bobble flowers. Okay, it's all complete. So for your slip stitch border, you're going to make 1 slip stitch into each stitch across the bottom, so you have 20 slip stitches. Down the sides you're going to make 2 slip stitches into the side of every double crochet row. Remember, when we get to that last row at the top, you'll make 2 slip stitches in one side and 1 slip stitch in the other. So down the long sides you'll have 78 slip stitches down one side and 77 down the other. Once you finish that, you can weave in your ends and join it to last week's ray. So I hope you enjoy that stitch, and I shall see you next week for week 40. Bye for now.